Hello, everyone. My name is Colleen. This is Seymour Books, and welcome back to my channel. So you can tell from the video, this is my 100 top books of 2022. Yes, you did read that right. So when you read 277 books in a year, it's really difficult to pick your top books. And I could only narrow it down to my top 100. So I will do my best to go through these as quickly as I possibly can. So let's just get right into it. Um, so I'm a PowerPoint nerd because I still feel like I'm in college sometimes. I just love PowerPoint because it's just so neat and clean. So top 100 books of 2022. Let's get into this. So this is All 13, The Incredible Cave Rescue of the Thai Boys Soccer Team by Christina Soon Tornvat. So this is incredible. I highly recommend it. It is a nonfiction book about this incredible story about their rescue. Pick this up as soon as you can. I plan on purchasing my own copy as soon as I can. It's just one I have been wanting to grab. I picked this up at my local library. Yeah, she's an amazing writer. She is from Thailand. Uh, yeah, cannot recommend it enough. I am really excited to watch the uh the film that oh my gosh, the guy from Happy Days. Um Whatever his name is. Can't think of it right now, that he made. Um, so yeah. Okay. And every morning the way home gets longer and longer by Frederick Bachman. So this is a little novella about a grandfather who is suffering from some form of Alzheimer's or dementia. I gave this 5 stars, and I had a grandma who had dementia. I was just bawling throughout this entire thing. So I cannot recommend it enough. It was just so precious. Uh, yeah, just read it. So this one was so cool. It has such amazing graphics. Uh, art art matters because your imagination can change this world by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by Chris Riddell. Um, yeah, just gets you really pumped up for about creating things and how art can really change the world. So yeah, I definitely want to pick up a copy of this for my own collection as well. Not that I don't have enough already, but so these are all in alphabetical order. These are not in like my personal preference order. Um, so just letting you know that. So that's why the third in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series came up before the rest of the book series. So third one. This might be a controversial opinion. I gave it 5 stars. Blew my mind. That twist. Holy crap. If 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 you read it, you know you know. Holly Jackson. Whoa. Just whoa. Highly recommend the audiobooks if you haven't listened to them. They are amazing. Um, Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. I'm a huge fan of hers. Just the way that the definitions that she came up with for these terms, and I have the audiobook. I just love her narrating things. It makes the book so much better. So amazing. Atomic Habits by James Clear. I listened to the audiobook of this when I read it, and then I got my own physical copy for Christmas, so I can dive even more deeply into it, um, to work on some habits that I want to work on. But highly recommend. So good. 5 stars, of course. So this is a children's book, Bark George by Julie's Pfeiffer. I got this book for Christmas. So as a children's librarian, um, I love picture books. Uh, so this is about a dog named George. He's having some issues with barking the way that a dog should. So I will not spoil the story, but if you have kids, or if you just like reading a good picture book every once in a while, I highly recommend this one. It is so cute. The kids in my story time in the fall, they absolutely love this one. Okay, Beach Read by Emily Henry, 5 stars. Oh, loved this one so much. It was so good. Oh my goodness. Just the way they switched right in their novels and family aspects. Oh, just so good. Love Emily Henry. Okay, this is a really cool nonfiction one. The Betrayal of Anne Frank, a cold case investigation by Rosemary Sullivan. So there was actually a team that they brought together to try and solve who turned in the Frank family. And so it goes through their entire investigation and they come up with who they think turned in the Frank family. It was incredible. Highly recommend it. Yeah, so cool. So cool. Love this book. Better Than Movies by Lynn Painter. This is a YA romance novel. Has so many rom-com movie references. You can just tell by the title, like, cannot recommend this book enough. If you have not read it, you must go read it right now. Every chapter starts out with a quote from a rom-com. Fantastic. The audiobook is also amazing. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. So I did not give this rating because sometimes I just feel like I can't give a memoir a rating. This is one of them. So Beyond the Wand, The Magic and Mayhem of Growing Up a Wizard by Tom Felton. So this just gave some Tom Felton shared things about his life and what it was like growing up as a child actor. So it was just incredibly interesting. So yeah, loved it so much. Love Tom Felton. Book Lovers by Emily Henry, 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love this one. I feel like sometimes I've seen on BookTube that this one has been kind of controversial, but I loved Book Lovers. It was amazing. Yeah. I think this is probably my second favorite after. See, I don't know if I like it more than People Being on Vacation. See, I don't know. I can't make that decision right now. It's too much pressure. So I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I am constantly reading this book at all times, the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. And so this is always in my top books every year. So I had to include it. It has changed my life and has brought me closer to Jesus Christ. And so yeah, I'm not trying to get too preachy, but yeah, it's just brought me so much peace and comfort in my life. So I just had to include it on my top 100 books of 2022. So then we have The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Michelle Richardson. I've been wanting to read this book for years. Gave 5 out of 5 stars. So it's about the book, the like the pack woman, like the horse pack woman librarians that would like take books out in rural areas. And so yeah, it was just so fascinating. And they came out the sequel, and I'm planning, actually, that's on my TBR for TBR Ring Toss. So if you have not checked that out yet, I highly recommend it. Checking that out, my TBR Ring Toss. So but yeah, this is such a good book. I'm so excited for the second one, The Book Woman's Daughter. So then we had The Boy, the Mole, and the Fox and the Horse by Charles Mackey. Oh, 5 out of 5. This book is just so tender. And there's a cake. The drawings are just, it's just wonderful. And I just found out that there's also a movie that they made out of this on Apple TV that I have not watched yet. It must. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. Just go read it, please. It's very short. So this starts the Enola Holmes journey. So this is one of her cases, the case of the bizarre bouquets. I'm not gonna spoil the mystery, but it involves these bizarre bouquets and how these flowers help her to solve the mystery of where oh no, it's Watson has gone, because he's gone missing. And then the cryptic Crinoline. Can't remember where exactly. I can't remember what the cryptic Crinoline was about. Oh, and the Gypsy Goodbye, that's the final one. Not talking about that at all, because that was like major spoilers in the series. That's the final like book of like the original like 6. Um, and then this is the left-handed lady. This girl goes missing. And so Enola goes and tracks her down. This is the original one that started all, the case of the missing Marquess. So yeah, this is the one that the film is inspired by. And then this is the case of the peculiar pink fan. So this little pink fan is used as one of her major clues that helps her to solve the mystery. And then we have The Christmas Pig by J.K. Rowling. I read this in the middle of the summer. And oh my goodness, did I cry. I cried so much. I cannot recommend this enough. It was so good. It made me so happy. Oh my goodness, I loved it. Yeah, just read it. I physically read it. I don't know about the audiobook, but the physically reading was just great. Yeah. Double heart pat. Yeah, it deserves all the love. 5 out of 5. So I gave this one 4 stars. But I just love this one. I'm not usually like deep into novels and verse, but this was really interesting. Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. So it's about 2 sisters. They find out that they share the same father. And one lives in the Dominican Republic and the other is in New York. And the father goes down to the Dominican Republic every summer. The daughter lives in New York. Like, they have no idea that the other exists. And then their father dies on a plane ride to the Dominican Republic and is killed in the plane crash. And that's when all the secrets come out. So it's really interesting, and it's all told in novels in verse, going back and forth between the 2 sisters. So really recommend. Then we have Defend the Dawn by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the second book in the Defy the Night series. 5 out of 5. I did not know this is a duology or a trilogy. If anyone else knew or did not know, I'm telling you now. This one, major cliffhanger. I need a 3rd book like right now. I need answers. But 5 out of 5, so good. Such a solid sequel. And I had to give the first one 5 out of 5. So like this series about like this it's about this plague or this pandemic that comes across the land, and the vaccine that's supposed to help everyone is not available to be like widely given to everyone, and there's trouble and there's uprisings, and yeah. Does that sound like our world in any way? Any right? Well, it's complicated, but it's really good. It's so good. Love it. Okay, so this is a memoir that I gave starting to delete that and other failed attempts to look good online by John Crist. He is one of my favorite comedians. I listened to the audiobook for this one. He is hilarious. He's a Christian comedian. He's had me laughing. But he just gave great advice and just like talking about his life, and yeah, love this one. It was so good. So this is another YA novel by Lynn Painter, The Do-Over. It's a Groundhog Day scenario on Valentine's Day. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is one of the last books that I read in 2022, and I absolutely loved it. It was so cute. Yeah. she just keeps knocking her car into the back of this guy's cart. And yeah, it it's so good. Please read it. I just love Lynn Painter's writing so much. Then we have Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia, 5 out of 5 stars. Honestly, if it made it on this list, most of the time it's gonna be pretty much it's gonna be 5 out of 5 stars. Let's be honest. So this gave great anxiety rep. I deal with anxiety, so I like majorly related to this book so much. I can't draw like her to save my life. But yeah, it was just such a great story, and like her comic books and the way those were like drawn in the story, and it was just so good. Yeah, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. So good. And then we have Enola Holmes in the Black Barouche. This is one of the newer ones. So this lady like disappears, and Enola has to track her down with the help of her brothers. Her brother is Sherlock Holmes, if you weren't aware. So yeah, that's why she's Enola Holmes. So yeah, it's really cool. And then this was a little like novella, that's between that one and like the original series. Enola Holmes and the Boy in Buttons. It was really good short novella, and I really enjoyed it. It was only like 30 minutes, the audiobook, so yeah. And then Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library. So I read this for my tween book club that I'm running at my local library right now. This is such a fun book. So it's a library where these kids come. It's the grand opening of this library, and it's like a contest that they have to escape from the library, but there's rules that like they have to follow the certain path and follow all the clues, but you can't exit through the doors or the emergency exits. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it's a middle grade novel, but yeah, just ignore the fact that it's blurred by James Patterson. um just ignore him. Sorry, I have a bias against James Patterson. It's fine. But yeah, it's really good. And it's also a series, if you really like that. I want to continue the series. It's a goal for the year. I love this series. The Final Gambit, Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I know some people didn't like the final book, but I absolutely loved it. I personally binged like the entire series in like a month. So I don't know if that's why I loved like all 3 books equally as much, because I remembered everything so well. I don't know. But yeah, I can't really tell you about this one because spoilers, but yeah. Fish in a Tree, Linda Mullally Hunt. This is another one of my tween book club picks that we read. So that this girl that has dyslexia, and so she's just going through these struggles. She doesn't know how to read. And no one in her school knows that she doesn't know how to read. Her family doesn't even know that she doesn't know how to read. So it's just like her journey of learning how to read. And she's in 5th grade at this point. So yeah, it's just such an incredible book. I highly recommend it. So I learned about this through the adult book club at my library that I attend. Fred Korematsu Speaks Up. It's a graphic novel by Laura Atkins and Stan Yogi. So it's about Fred Korematsu. He chose to stand up and to fight in court to try and prove that what the United States was doing, by imprisoning Japanese American citizens during World War II, was illegal. He did a case with someone, put it through a court case to prove that that was illegal. Unfortunately, he lost the case at that time, but eventually he was able to overturn it years later. It's such a powerful graphic novel, and it just gives like historical background information along with his story. I absolutely loved it. It was so good. Yeah. I've just been reading a lot more about that time period, and it's just one of the things that our nation should makes me so ashamed that the United States chose to act in fear instead of trusting our citizens. Yeah, it just hurts my heart that they were forced into such a horrible situation. So sorry. Then we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. Um, I think this was actually my first V.E. Schwab. I can't remember if I read Gallant or The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue first, but I absolutely loved Gallant. It was such a cool atmospheric book. I now have the US and the UK version. And yeah, just the drawings inside and the atmosphere that she creates is fantastic. Highly recommend. Then we have Gemina. So this is the second book in Illuminae Files, by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. So this is a sci-fi series. So this is following like the second couple. So like each book follows a different couple. Can't recommend it enough. But something that I would recommend is listening to the audiobook while you're looking at the physical book. It gives you a totally new experience. I did that for the second and third book and absolutely loved it. Even more than, like, I loved reading the first book just by itself, but it gave the second and third book, it made me love them even more. Then we have Getting Good at Being You by Lauren Elena. Subtitle Learning to Love Who God Made You to Be. So I give this 5 out of 5 stars. This is like half memoir, half like self-help book. So she's gone through just like a lot in her life. She's a country music star. She was actually on American Idol the year that Scotty McCreery won American Idol. And so my sister's actually been following both of them since then on American Idol. Her and my sister she actually follows my sister on Twitter because she's been following her since the beginning. So it's kind of funny. So yeah, it just has such positive things about how to learning to love yourself and just being the person that being you and not trying to change yourself for other people. And being a better you, like still being yourself, but like learning to grow and just improve. Yeah, it's just incredible. I absolutely recommend it. And it's not too long either. And I recommend the audiobook because Lauren reads it herself. And I just love her southern accent too. Then we have Good Girl Bad Blood. I love the series, Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Absolutely love the series. 5 out of 5 for all three. If you have not read these, so it's about this girl, Pip. She decides for a school project, to look into the murder of this girl in her town. And to prove that it was not this guy, Sal, that did it. Who was her boyfriend. And yeah, that's just where it starts. And then book 2 just builds on to the ante. In the book 3, it's like, whoa. And yeah, cannot recommend it enough. Such an incredible series. And then I reread Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I'm currently in the middle of a reread. I'm reading book 3 this month. Such a good series. The narration's wonderful by Jim Dale. Then we got Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Also read that one last year. Book that started it all. Then we have the Hawthorne Legacy. Loved this one. I just love this series. Then we have Heartstopper. Yeah, I love the Heartstopper graphic novels. I've read this version in English, Catalan, and Portuguese. I'm fluent in Portuguese. I only read it in Catalan because that's the only language could get it in. And I thought it would be easy to I thought it'd be fine to read it in because Catalan is a romantic language. I thought it'd be close to Portuguese. It was not as close as I thought it was gonna be. It was hard. But I'd already read Heartstopper in English. I just really wanted to read it again for whatever-a-thon in June. So I read it in Catalan. So yeah, I just love Nick and Charlie so much. So I got volume 2. Oh, so good. Volume 3, volume 4. Oh, this one. Oh my goodness, my heart. I think this might be this one might be my favorite volume. I am just anxiously awaiting volume 5. I need it like right now. If anyone has like updates about volume 5, let me know. I've heard 2023, like February, but there's been nothing out there. So yeah, just let me know if you know anything. So I got recommended this book by Liv from Liv's Library, and I love this book so much. Holiday Romance by Catherine Walsh. So about these two oh my gosh, I can't remember what their names are. But they're from Ireland. They meet at school in Chicago. Main character, her roommate is dating this guy. And then like on their flight back to Ireland, like right before she's about to leave, she's like, I'm gonna break up with the guy that the Irish guy, like that she like the other guy that's going back to Ireland. And she's like, no, like she's found out that her roommate was gonna break up with him, and then she ends up on the plane with him. They're sitting next to each other, and like her friend like her roommate like calls her like on the plane, calls him on the plane. It's like super awkward. Wait, that might be a spoiler. That's like the first scene. And so it's sort of like their like adventures, like of the different flights they've taken, and their relationship over years of taking flights back and forth from Chicago to Ireland. And yeah, it's just so cute. I can't recommend it enough. I absolutely loved it. So I read Home for Our Dog. This was a book club pick. This was my first Riley Sager, and I am normally not one that likes anything like spooky at all, and I absolutely love this. I'm gonna admit that when I was finishing it, I had to be in the room with someone else. I was like, I was like, nope, you cannot leave until I finish this book. I just had to I just had to have someone stay with me while I was finishing this book. I'm like, nope, you're not leaving. Yeah, I was like cornered on the couch. I was like, nope, not leaving this room until this is done. I need to know how this ends. Then I was fine once it was over. But yeah, like until it was over, like, nope. No one's leaving this room until I can't be alone right now. Then we have Hooked by Sutton Foster, How Crafting Saved My Life. So this is a memoir. So Sutton Foster is a Broadway star, and she also starred on an episode of some the Revival of Gilmore Girls, and some other things that Amy Sherman Palladino has done. And so that's how I really came to know who she was. And she's really big on Broadway. And so I saw her thing and How Crafting Saved Her Life, and it was just like, it was a really great memoir. So this one I had to rate, and just the importance of like self-care, and how doing simple things like crafting and things like that can help you. So like I really recommend this memoir. It was wonderful. So yeah, 5 out of 5. Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet by Jamie Ford. This was such a good one. My book club at my local library for the adult book club, we read this one. So it's about a Japanese American boy, and no, he's Chinese American, and then a Japanese American little girl. Is set in 1940 two, right after the Pearl Harbor attack, so like in January. And jumps back and forth between the 1980s and 1942, and just their life journeys and what they go through. So it was so touching, and it made me weep. I'm really good at crying during books. So this is such Carrie from Carrie Can Read recommended this book. How Do You Live by Gensaburo Yoshino. This just really makes you examine life. This has so many morals and just things to think about that really make you think about life and how you're living your life. I really recommend it. It was written back in like the 40s. Yeah, cannot recommend enough. Then we have How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. I love that series so much. Yeah, so I just had to read this one. I loved it. 5 out of 5. Just having more background. Oh my gosh, what is his name? On Cardin. And then getting a little about their lives like in present times. Yeah, it was really great. Okay, so this is a really interesting book. So this is How to Find What You're Not Looking For. So it's a book that's written, it's a middle grade novel written in second person. But it also includes parts that are written in verse. So it's written during the 1970s. I'm pretty sure it was the 70s. And this girl, they are Jewish, and her sister decides to move to New York, and she marries I think he's Indian, and they're Jewish, and so that was at that point very frowned upon. It wasn't very common for like it was right after the Loving case went to the Supreme Court, and they won. And so yeah, it's a very interesting story. I highly recommend it. And the fact that it was in second person made it even more interesting to read. So this one is really cool. So How to Host a Viking Funeral, the case for burning your regrets, chasing your ideas, and becoming the person you're meant to be by Kyle Shiel. So this is about a guy, he made a gigantic boat, like a gigantic boat, like you see it right there. And then he had all these people send in their regrets, and then he burned them all. Like he made that gigantic boat out of cardboard. I think it took him like a year, 2 years. Yeah, it was just incredible. I really enjoyed the book. I posted a review about it on TikTok, and he actually responded to it, and I was like totally fangirling. My sister happened to be home. She's in Utah, and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? Like, he responded. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm like, you need someone to say. Like, you're the person that meets more, you meet famous people all the time. My sister's like a famous person magnet. Like, I don't know how she just like finds them. She just knows these things. Yeah, she's crazy. But it's funny. And then I read Hunted by Megan Spooner. This is a reread for me. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I love Megan Spooner. She wrote The Three Broken Stars with Amy Kaufman. That series. This book is so good. I just love this retelling. It's wonderful. It takes such a wonderful it's such a good take on Beauty and the Beast. Can't recommend enough. And then we have I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. This was actually my first Ruta Sepetys book, and I need to read more from her. I have so many of her books now, and I haven't picked up another one of them, which I am so sad about. But this is about a boy in Romania, right before the revolution happens. So they're still under communist rule. And so it's just what it was like during that country to be under communist rule, and just all the things they're dealing with. It's just amazing how she really puts you in those people's shoes, and it's incredible the amount of research that she has to do, and I'm sure she interviews, and it's just amazing. She's such an incredible writer. Then we have the Illuminae files, the original, the OG. Yeah. Space Wars. We have an invasion on the planet, trying to get the planet. Crazy AI trying to kill people. Yeah. Cannot recommend these books enough. Mixed media. Yeah, they are beautiful, beautiful books. Then we have the Inheritance Game. So this is the first book. So about this girl, she inherits this fortune from this guy she has never met, and then she has to like live with this family for like a year to inherit the fortune, and that's where it starts. And then she has to like survive his family. Let me just tell you, it's a lot harder than you think it's gonna be. Then we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I fell in love with this book. I cannot tell you how much. I own currently 5 different copies of this book. I have this edition on the screen. I have the regular US special edition, the Barnes & Noble special edition, the original UK edition, and then the UK special edition. And then I'm currently got the UK paperback on order. I haven't decided if I'm gonna buy the US paperback because it has that weird thing where there's like that gap in the paperback. I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't know why that gap's there. It's weird. So I haven't fully committed to that, but so yeah. Can you tell I really like this book? So yeah, if you have not read it, I'm gonna tell you a little about it now that I've already told you how I'm obsessed with it. So about this girl, Addie LaRue. She makes a deal with the devil to live forever, but of course there has to be a catch. The second she leaves anyone, they immediately forget her. So live forever, but no one remembers you until one day someone remembers her. Yeah, Henry, so good. So this is a graphic novel called Isla to Island by Alexis Castellanos. So this is about this girl that immigrated to the United States from Cuba in the 1960s. So it's just about her experience, and I can't remember if this is based on a true story. But it was wonderful. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Highly, highly recommend. So this is Kind of Coping, an illustrated look at life with anxiety by Maureen Marzi Wilson. A 5 out of 5. So if any of you have anxiety, this is basically, or if you don't, you've ever wondered, this book tells you what it's like. Yeah, this is really what it's like, folks. Just read this book. You'll know exactly how we feel. And then we have the last flight by Julie Clark. This book is so crazy. So 2 women meet at an airport. They decide to switch flights. The one girl goes on to flight in California, the girl that switched the flight, the plane goes down. And then, like, it's flipping, like, back and forth between the two stories. Like, the girl that went down the plane, it's going, like, back in time for her, like, 6 months before the crash. And craziness. Julie Clark. She's one of my new favorite authors. Cannot recommend enough. Okay, then we have The Last Mapmaker by Christina Soonthorne-Vaught. She was the author that wrote the book about the Thai soccer team. So this is about a girl who she's from the slums, but she wants to be a map maker. She finds a job working for a map maker in her town, and she has this opportunity to go on this great adventure to discover, to chart this far off land, to go on this great adventure. And yeah, it's so cool. It's such a fun adventure. This is a middle grade novel, if you couldn't tell by the cover. But I highly recommend. Then we have Letters to the Lost. This was a reread for me by Bridget Kemmerer. This is about this girl. She writes letters to her mother who had passed away just a few months before. And suddenly this guy, so her name's Juliet. So this guy, Declan, he's doing community service at the cemetery where her mom's buried. He decides to write back to the letter, and suddenly they're writing letters, and then they're writing emails, and so it just goes on from there. It's wonderful. And then we have The Librarian Always Rings Twice. So this is a first edition library book. This is the third in a series. So it's a mystery series. It's so fun. So I don't want to give you too much about the series, but I highly recommend the series. So it's set in the UK. Yeah, it's about this library where this lady, she is curating this collection of first edition crime novels. Yeah, it's really fun. There's 3 out so far. This is the third one. This is the latest one that's come out. So highly recommend. Then we have A Library by Nikki Giovanni. This is a picture book. This is about a little girl that this is about a segregated library, and just how her librarian goes through so much to make sure that she has the books that she needs, because it was much more difficult during those times for them to get the books that they need. And it was just so wonderful. Yeah, it just made my heart so happy. Like, the librarian going through to make sure that her patrons had what they needed. Because I would do anything for my patrons to make sure that they had the books that they need. So, and then another book by Julie Clark, The Lies I Tell. So this involves a con artist, another girl that's trying to undercover to expose our con artist. So yeah. So this also goes like before, after. Yeah. Julie Clark. She has such good storytelling abilities. So this is linked by Gordon Kaufman. This is a middle grade novel. So this one, this is actually pretty heavy for a middle grade novel. But it's set in this little town. And suddenly in the town there at this school, they come into school the next day and there's a swastika on the wall, and they don't know why. Like, who put it up? No one's they don't know why it happened. They're never able to figure out who it was. And suddenly they just start appearing over and over and over again. And so they decide to make this paper chain to in honor of all those that were killed in the Holocaust, to remember the victims of the Holocaust. So it's a beautifully written novel. I highly recommend. So we have A Long Walk to Water by, so this is based on a true story by Linda Sue Park. So it flashes forward from present day to the past. And so the past is the part that's true, and then the present day, the little girl that we learn about is based on little girls that deal with the same thing every day, having to walk for water. And so it's about this boy Salvador and his experiences of having to run from his home in southern Sudan, when rebels came in. It's a powerful book. It's really short. It's only like 118 pages, but it's 118 powerful pages, so highly recommend. I also did this book with my tween book club as well. And then we have Lunch Every Day by Catherine Otoshi. So this is also a picture book. So this deals with bullying and about this boy that doesn't want to receive school lunches, and about this lady that brings in lunch for him so that he won't be bullied, and it will just tear, oh my gosh, it'll just tear at your heartstrings. I think I'm remembering it correctly. It's been a while since I read this one, but it was so powerful. Yeah, cannot recommend enough. And then this is the sequel to Blade of Secrets. I don't want to give anything away, but the first one, Blade of Secrets, about this, oh my gosh, what is her exact title? She works in a forge. She's a bladesmith, and she makes magical blades. And she makes this very powerful blade, and she also has social anxiety. Totally relate. And so it's just like really cool. And so she makes this really powerful blade, and then this is the sequel picking up where book 1 left off, and yeah, more chaos ensues and wraps up really cool. So totally recommend. Then we have Matilda by Roald Dahl. This is a reread for me. I listened to the audiobook again. I love the audiobook. It's read by Kate Winslet, and she does such a fantastic job with the audiobook. If you have not listened, I highly recommend listening to the audiobook. She just makes it so enjoyable. Also, movie's fantastic too. And I've also heard the great things about the play, about the Broadway show. I have not had a chance to check that out yet. Then we have The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. This was recommended to me by a Barnes and Noble staff member, and it's so interesting. So like all of these boxes just appear one day. Like everyone wakes up and there's a box at their door. I think you have to be 18 for the box to appear. And there's a string in there, and depending on how long the string is, that will determine how much life you have left. And there's just so I did this book with my work book club, and there was just so much discussion. Oh my goodness, I cried so much. Yeah, highly recommend. Then we have A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. So this is like part novel, part graphic novel. Because it's more like mixed media. Because it's got a lot of like, there are pages like a lot of graphics, but then there's like full like novel pages. So this boy, his mom is sick, and this creature keeps coming to him every night, and yeah, it's just him dealing with his grief. And so yeah, it'll make you cry. I love tearjerkers. So this is the companion book to Letters to the Lost. This is More Than We Can Tell by Bridget Kimmerer. So this is about Declan's best friend, Rev, and a love interest for him. So I don't want to give too much away because it also plays into like spoilers with Letters to the Lost. But it is a wonderful book as well. Yeah. And his love interest is named Emma. Yeah. So Rev had like a difficult childhood. And so, yeah. And Emma's got a rough home life. Her parents don't exactly get along. And so they go through some things together. Then we have The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. This is my third, I think third Agatha Christie book. Oh my goodness. This is incredible. If you have not read it, I highly recommend it. I think this might be my second favorite Agatha. I've only read 3, but this was so good. I was shocked at the end. Um, if you've read it, you know. So go pick up a copy. You will not be disappointed. Um, so Must Love Books by Shauna Robinson. So this is about a girl, who is working for a publisher out in, I think she's in San Francisco. And she is just like overworked, underpaid. She is just not getting what she is worth. Um, and they're just not a good publisher to work for. Uh, I know how she felt. Like I was like, oh my gosh, like did they write this about my life? Um, I was like in the same situation. I did not make the decisions that this person did. Um, the rest of the novel, but the first part I was like, man, I was like, were they following me? I'm like, I felt like I was being stalked like at some point, but yeah, it was so good. Cannot recommend enough. Okay, so we have My Own Lightning, by Lauren Walk. This is the sequel to Wolf Hollow. Um, so I can't give you too many um like spoilers about this one, because it picks right up where the first one left off. But Wolf Hollow, let's go, it's set in Pennsylvania during World War II. um and it's about when this new girl comes to town, Betty, and she is a major bully, and it just sets major course of events, and just bad things start happening. And so this one just, oh, more things. Yeah. Lauren Wolk is an amazing writer, and it was a fantastic sequel. Oh my goodness. The Nature of Fragile Things by Susan Meissner. I read this for my adult book club at my library. So this is set during the earthquake in San Francisco during, I think it was the 1910s or 1920s. But it was somewhere around there. I can't remember what year it was, but holy crap, this novel, you will never see what happens coming. Like, there are so many twists and turns. Like, it is crazy, but crazy good. It is a fantastic novel. About this lady, she accepts, she sees this ad for a man, um, to wanting a wife, and he has that, and he also needs a woman, a wife, because he has a daughter, and then they get married, and then the earthquake happens, and just lots of things ensue. So yeah, definitely check it out. So then we have the third book in the Illuminae files, 5 out of 5. So good. So this is the companion book to Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. This is about her friend. So she goes on a cruise with her family. Her family has decided, her parents are a little upset that she has not decided what she wants to do with her life. They're like, you have till the end of this cruise to figure out what you would do with her life. And then there's some love in there and a cool guy, and yeah, just figure out what she wants to do with her life. So good. And so cute. So this is a middle grade novel, Ophi's Ghosts. It's set during, I want to say the 20s or the 30s in Pittsburgh. It's set in Pittsburgh. It's about this girl, Ophi. Her and her mother moved from the south. Her father was killed by a mob that broke into their house and burned down their house. They so it was actually kind of strange. Her father was lynched. And then strangely, Ophi can see ghosts, and her father's ghost appeared to her and warned to get her and her mother out of their house to save them before the mob came for them at their house. And she was able to save her and her mother. And then they came to the north, and they work at this house, and there are some ghosts running around the house. And so her ability to see ghosts plays a role in this story. So it's really interesting. So if any of you are a fan of the show Outer Banks, so this is a prequel. Like, this happens before the show. It is really, really good. I loved it so much. Yeah. Really goes into the Pogues, and you don't really see Sarah that much. You only see her a teeny bit. But yeah, it really focuses on John B and JJ, and I just love their brother relationship. So good. Then we have people we meet on vacation. So yeah, she is a column writer, and she always invites her friend on these trips. They've always done these trips, and then eventually, like, her column starts become more and more expensive trips. They always went on a vacation together. And then suddenly the trips just stopped. And then she's like, let's go on one last trip. Suddenly things got weird, like 2 years before, and so it's us figuring out what the heck happened. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of Casey West. So this is places we've never been. Uh I own, like, I literally own every Casey West novel there's ever been. So this is like a road trip between two families. So they were best friends with their kids, and then like 5 years before, her best friend, the guy, he moved away. Now their families are suddenly get back together for this road trip, and he's like all standoffish, and she's like, why is he being so weird? So yeah. And so sort of their relationship and how things progress. Okay, and this is another one by Maureen Marzi Wilson, positively introverted, finding your way in a world full of people. Advice and coping strategies from one introvert to another. Yeah, this was really helpful. I loved I loved her little strategies for navigating the world as an introvert. As an introvert, I really appreciated that. We as introverts, we all need more advice about how to deal with extroverts, because they can just be so loud sometimes, can't they? So Refugee is about three kids. So the first is about a little boy and his family, and they are trying to get out of Germany during World War II, and seek asylum in Cuba. And then another one is about a little girl in Cuba during the 1990s. Her family is trying to escape Cuba and head to the United States. And then the final story is about a family in I want to say Iran or Iraq. And they're trying to escape to Germany to seek asylum because of all of the political unrest in their country. And so it goes through these different stories, and it's just a very powerful story about refugees and all the things that they have to deal with. Alan Grass is such a powerful story writer. I also read one a couple years ago about that he wrote about 9/11. It was a difficult read, but it was very powerful. So this one, I gave it 4 stars, but this one is so cool. So this is Skywalker, A Family at War by Kristen Baver. So this is a biography about the Skywalker family. So it just goes like through like the entire family, like beginning, like through all the family, their history, like it's so cool. I can't recommend it enough. It's really cool. If you're a fan of Star Wars. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, you won't like this book. But if you are, totally recommend. Then we have Speak, the graphic novel. So if you read the novel, I highly recommend the graphic novel. Or if you haven't read the novel, well, I recommend reading the novel first and then the graphic novel. It makes sense, the art choice that they chose for the graphic novel if you've read the novel first. It's just perfectly done. Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. Okay, so this is my first manga. So it's Spy X Family, Volume 1. So it's about this guy. He's a spy, and he needs to have a family to complete a mission. So he gets a daughter from an orphanage. She turns out to be a telepath. And then he finds this lady. He's like, "Will you marry me?" She's like, "Yeah." Turns out she's an assassin. And so this is the family that is together. And none of them know about the secret aliases of the other. So it's really rather amusing. So yeah, if you have not started, so I've only read 2 volumes so far. I read the second volume this year in 2023. But yeah, it's really good. And I read another Casey West book in 2022. So this was Sunkissed. So this girl, her and her family go up to this cabin. Well, actually, it's more like this resort, and they like rent this cabin. And she like is having mixed feelings. She's like really kind of upset with like her friend, and things didn't end well with her boyfriend, from what I understand. I think her friend cheated on her with her boyfriend, or made out with her ex-boyfriend, from what I understand. From what I remember, because I read this at the beginning of last year. And then they go, yeah, that was it. And then they go to the cabin. There's no Wi-Fi up there. And she has like stage fright and stuff, and she ends up meeting this guy, gets involved with music again, and so yeah, just fun time in the woods. So yeah. And then we have That's Betty, the story of Betty White. It's a picture book about the story of Betty White. The only sad thing is that this book was printed saying that Betty White's birthday was going to be soon. She was going to turn 100, and then she passed away before she turned 100, which made me so sad. But it was still a really good picture book about Betty White. Then we have 1,000 Steps Into Night by Tracy Chee. She also wrote oh my goodness, why is my brain blanking? It's one of my favorite books. Why am I not seeing it on my shelves? Oh wait, it's historical fiction. It's over here. We Are Not Free. It's about 17 teens that were incarcerated or put in prison camps during World War II. They were Japanese American teens, and their stories. So this is her fantasy novel that she wrote, and it's based on Japanese mythology, and it was so cool. Just oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, just the turns that it took, and yeah, she's like this girl is trying to make up for a mistake that she made and bring honor back to her family and change her destiny, and it so good. So I only give this 4 stars, but I still love Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This one has been making its rounds on TikTok, BookTube, everywhere. So I'll have you know what it is about. About 2 friends and it's really a book about friendship. How they make video games together. I really enjoyed the audiobook. It gave me the best experience for this book. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much if I would have just read it physically, but I don't know that for a fact, so I don't know. But I still really enjoyed it. It wasn't like a 5-star like double heart pat, which is how I know like it just didn't like hit me there, but like I still really enjoyed it a lot. So that's how it made it on my top 100. And then we have Unclaimed Baggage. This was also 4-star, but it was just too funny. Like it wasn't a 5-star read, but it was still really good, which is why it's on here. So this is about 3 teens that work at a place that buys unclaimed baggage and then sells the stuff that's inside of it. So like apparently people can buy unclaimed baggage that's been there for more than like a year. At airports. Apparently this happens. So it's just like all the stuff that they get, like one girl moves there. I think the story's set in like it's either North or South Carolina. I want to say North Carolina. And the one girl moves from like Chicago. And the one guy, he is dealing with trying to get over a drinking problem. And the other girl is like is like trying to make friends, and so it's like their friendship. So it's just really fun. And then this is Veil of Winter. This is the 3rd book in the Daracot Tales by Melanie Dickerson. I can't remember which brother this is about. So the first one is Court of Swans. So that one about this girl. They're all based on fairy tale. They're all fairy tale retellings. This one I believe is based on Sleeping Beauty or Snow White. Yeah, because he kisses her awake after she falls asleep with the potion. I think this one's based on Snow White. So it's a Snow White retelling. But it's set in somewhere in Germany. I think somewhere in that area. But it like starts out in the UK, like the guy is from there, is from England. And then there's another series that she wrote called the Hagenheim series that's set in Germany, the Germanic region. So I'm very obsessed. These are also Christian retellings. So there is like scripture and things in it. But I'm Christian, and so I really enjoy these. So these aren't for everyone if you don't like a lot of like scripture and things like that. So they're very clean and wholesome, and I just love them. So a 4th one actually just came out in the series in December, and I haven't gotten to it yet. And I'm like, why have I not read you yet? So it needs to happen soon. So this is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I also love her book Sorcery of Thorns, which I just reread and finished today. But this is about a girl. So oh my gosh, what is she? Oh my goodness, I can't remember what she does. They like protect. She's like a nun. And they protect. I don't remember what this book is about at all. They protect like relics. Like in the churches, and something happens. There's attack on the church, and there's like undead, and crazy things ensue. And yeah, she has like a spirit inside of her, and that's really all I remember. But it was really good. clearly I need to reread this one. But I'm also tired, and we're coming close to the end because we're in the V's. So, then we have The Wish by Nicholas Sparks. Yes, I'm a Nicholas Sparks junkie. Um, this one made me cry so much. So it's about this girl. So she's telling a story about her past. So she has skin cancer and she's in the final stages, so she knows she's gonna die. And she is telling her employee like her life story because he's interested in it, and how she was sent off to live with her aunt in Ocracoke, North Carolina, which is like a off the coast and just a tiny little town. And I think Ocracoke is an island, actually. Don't quote me on that. No, actually it is, because you have to go there by ferry. It is. Um remembering things. Um and so she's just telling his life story and how she met her first love. And the guy, and she got sent there because she got pregnant. Um and how she fell in love there, and just her love story. And so it's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And then we have Yinka, Where Is Your Husband? This is number 99, folks, just to let you know. Um, this is just so funny. I can totally relate to this. Um, I am single still, and people often ask me at church and other places, be like, why are you not married yet? What's happening with that? So Yinka is often asked by her family, like, and her aunties, like, Yinka, where's your husband? Like, just goes about like her dating life and dealing with that, and it's just a really fun story. So I just could totally relate. So, and then the final one, which is a sad one, You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. um ugh, this one just made me cry, about this girl Julie and her boyfriend Sam. Sam dies, and then Julie decides to call his phone to listen to his voicemail one last time, and then somehow Sam picks up, and then they it's their story goes on from there. Um and so it's a story about grief and letting go. And so I can't recommend it enough. It was really good. So that is my top 100 books of 100. I apologize for it being so long. Um, but thank you for sticking with me if you did. Um, but thanks so much, and just want to say, remember who you are and where you live, and I'll see you in my next one.